And we are live. Welcome back to Takes by Fans. We got a great show for you today. As always, we are live every single day at noon Eastern. If you want to watch live, head over to twitch.tv/takesbyfans. If you want to watch but not live, head over to our YouTube channel, Takes by Fans. We post all of our shows and clips of the show there on a daily basis. And if you just want to listen, we are on podcasting apps, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio. So however you want to watch or listen, we've got you covered multiple ways. Alrighty, today is a big old Tuesday. We got Hard Knocks on tonight, folks. 10 p.m. Eastern Time. And it's on HBO Max, so if you don't got the HBO Max, it's unfortunate. You're going to have to sign up for that. I don't think it's on regular HBO. I think it's only on HBO Max. So go get that if you don't got it, because we got to get that inside look of the Dallas Cowboys training camp, get behind the scenes. They just had their first preseason game last week, and now we're going to get the behind the scenes of what's been going on. Probably not in that preseason game, but what has been so far going on in that Cowboys locker room and the coaching staff. Remember, we are big. Our narratives for the training camp are Mike McCarthy coach and can Dan Quinn coach. So there are two things that we are going to be able to see in the behind the scenes, hopefully, of Hard Knocks. So that's on tonight. We'll break that down. We'll talk about whatever happened on it tomorrow on the show. We do have HBO Max, so we are able to watch it, thank goodness. So we'll talk about that tomorrow. But today on the show, we are going to be continuing on with our NFL team refreshers. We just did, who did we just do yesterday? What do we got? It was the Browns. Ooh, the Browns. Real good. I mean, folks, expect big things from the Browns team. We are big on the Browns going into the season. We think they're going to be absolutely fantastic, and we're believing in Baker Mayfield to get even better. And those running backs, geez Louise. So we'll spin the wheel and see what team we will be talking about today. What did they do last season? What did they do in this offseason? Who did they get? Who did they lose? Who did they draft? And then we'll walk through their schedule to see how many wins we can give them. So, let's just jump right into it with the stories of the day. And the first one up, we have to see how Saquon Barkley is doing. Yes, sir. Yesterday was his first day back at practice. Thank goodness. And we got a nice little clip of him just against no defense, running a little bit of a wheel route here out of the backfield, and you just look at the explosiveness. Just look at how fast he is coming out of the backfield, and then he's already about 15, 20 yards down the field in about 1, 2, 3, 2.5, 3 seconds. The man is already 15, 20 yards down the field. That is looking real nice, real explosive, great speed. Saquon Barkley, I mean, yeah, he's coming back off of an ACL injury, but man, oh man, the man is still looking explosive and fast as always. So doesn't seem like he's lost a step after surgery and after the brutal, gruesome injury. Year off. It seems like he's going to be picking up exactly where we left Saquon Barkley in 2020. So for that, we absolutely love it. All right, but we also get Joe Judge. We get his input on how he's doing, how he's looking, and what's going to be happening with this slow release of Saquon Barkley getting back into kind of the groove of things here. So we can go into this article and read some Joe Judge quotes about Saquon Barkley and how he was looking yesterday. But this is what we get. Joe Judge says Saquon Barkley looked good in his first practice off the PUP list, but wants to take it slow with Giants running back. Says, quote, "You have to tap the brakes a little bit on him, kind of look out for his best interests." And once again, this is what we're talking about, the slow, snail, crawling pace of Saquon Barkley truly being back at 100%, and we still don't even know if he's going to be out there week 1, folks. What the heck? So let's see if we can get in this article and just get a timetable. We still don't even have that timetable, folks. Yes, he's practicing, but he's not going against any defense, and he's just kind of, working a little slow out there. We saw he was looking fast, but the overall process is still turtle, snail, crawl, slow, folks. So let's see what we get. The New York Giants began their Monday with excellent news. Saquon Barkley would be back on the field. Truly great news. The Big Blue running back came off the physically unable to perform list on Monday and participated in practice for the first time since his ACL injury. The New York Post first reported Barkley would come off the PUP list this week. Quote here by Saquon Barkley, quote, "It felt great. I know it's not a huge step." No, it's a huge step. It's an absolutely huge step because we have not been hearing from you at all, and now you're finally out on the field. That is an absolutely ginormous one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind step, folks. Love it. I know it's not a huge step. It's a small step in my rehab process. I felt good running. I felt good cutting. But now I got to start simulating against NFL athletes, seeing guys shed blocks and react off of them and get to the point where I get hit and get tackled. The way I see it, it's kind of like riding a bike. Once it happens, you get right into the flow of things and be able to be who I am. So Saquon Barkley saying it's a small step right here in his rehab process. So once again, he's still dealing with this injury. It's not like this injury is gone and forgotten about. He is still working, getting right into NFL playing game day shape. So we got, 5 weeks, 4.5 weeks now. Saquon, please do whatever you need to do to be out there week 1. We need you. I need to see you out there. I need somebody to rival Derrick Henry for 2,000 yards this season, and I believe Saquon Barkley is the best running back to do that. So I need to see him out there. All right, what else do we get here? Barkley returning, we get this. Barkley ripped, oh no, we don't need to talk about that. Let's skip ahead here. Here we go. Let's read the lead up to the quote of Joe Judge. So here we go. Barkley returning to the practice field today and exiting the PUP list is the first glimmer of hope we have gotten that the former Pro Bowler might be ready for the season opener. The Giants could have kept him on the PUP list for several more weeks. Thank goodness he didn't. So his return to practice today indicates that both Barkley and the team are comfortable with where he is in rehab. Quote by Joe Judge. It was nice having him back out there with the team. Obviously, there is more of an extension of his rehab, but he looked good out there. It was good having him back with the team. I know he's been chomping at the bit. Biggest thing with him is you have to tap the brakes a little bit on him. Kind of look out for his best interest. Dude's a competitor. He wants to go out there. Already he's looking to go 11 on 11, but we'll kind of get to that in due time. He looked good out there today. So, Joe Judge doing the responsible things. We can't hate Joe Judge for pumping the brakes and saving Saquon Barkley from himself. Joe Judge has earned the right to kind of hold Saquon Barkley back a little bit. Joe Judge is doing an all right job here, doing, I believe, the best that he can do with just this overall state of the Giants team and how he kind of, found it and when he got there and, over the last 2 seasons, not having Saquon Barkley and all that. I believe he's doing kind of good as a head coach out here. So I do give Joe Judge the respect and the credit here for this Giants team, but I do need to see him out there as soon as possible. And still, we get no timetable, folks. We get one more quote here, 2 more quotes here, but these are both by Saquon Barkley. So once again, he's not giving us a timetable, and Joe Judge is not giving us a timetable. So we don't even know if he's going to be out there for week 1 still, folks. Still up in the air. So let's read the last lead up to the last quote here. Here we go. Expect the ramp up period to be lengthy for Barkley. The Giants haven't pushed him throughout his rehab, and they won't start now. Day to day, however, we expect to see baby steps from Barkley with the hope that it'll be a full go for the 2021 season. Quote by Saquon Barkley, the only way you truly can get ready for that is by simulating it on the football field. When I'm able to do that, I know I have an unbelievable organization that I play for, an unbelievable coach, and I don't feel forced, unbelievable training staff that I don't feel like they're forcing me. And we're going to talk about another instance where somebody was kind of forced to kind of play through the injury and now they're on bad terms. So once again, this is the overall right thing for Saquon Barkley. We just don't like it because we want to see this man play. We love watching this man play. This man is an absolute spectacular talent in our opinion. Top 3 running back. I would have no problem saying that. Pure running back, not Alvin Kamara, Christian McCaffrey. Top 3 pure rushing running back in this league, and we didn't get to see it last year, folks, so hopefully we can see it all 17 games this year and a postseason game, maybe even 2, 3, Super Bowl, 4, jeez, that'd be crazy. No? Yes? 17 at the minimum. That's what we want to see. All right, last quote. I'm listening to my body and listening to myself that whenever I'm able to play, whatever week it is, oh, don't say that. Whatever week it is, it better be gosh dang week 1. You understand me? Whatever week it is, I'm going to be 100% confident in myself. So I'm going to go out on a limb here, and this is going to crush me by saying this. I'm going to be absolute crushed, folks. I don't think Saquon Barkley plays week 1, y'all. I truly don't. I mean, this is the slowest of the slow of a slow that I have ever seen of somebody trying to get back out there on the field coming off of an injury. I mean, he's had really an entire year to come back off an ACL. That's basically the timetable, 11 to 12 months, and he got injured real early on in the season, week 2. So he's really had a full year to get back up to his, full strength, and he's still in the baby step process here. 5 weeks to go for the start of the season. So I don't think he plays week 1, folks, and I hate it. I absolutely hate it. So we'll obviously, keep our eye on Saquon Barkley. We've been doing it for the last 3 months here in the offseason. So we'll keep an eye on him, but I truly do not believe that this man is going to be starting week 1, and it's just going to be truly unfortunate. Hopefully week 2, maybe week 3, hopefully not week 10. Saquon Barkley, gosh dang him. Gosh dang it. All right, let's move on, and this is kind of the other injured player that was kind of a little forced to play through his injury, and now we're on bad terms. So let's kind of recap what's going on with this Michael Thomas situation. Michael Thomas ignored the Saints coaching staff and medical staff and coaches for 3 months in the offseason, and he wanted to get a second medical opinion. He got that second medical opinion. Unfortunately, it was a little bit too late, and he ended up having surgery anyway, and now he's going to be missing the first kind of 6 games of this season, 5 games of this season. So Michael Thomas took to Instagram yesterday or Twitter and said, hey, you're trying to ruin my reputation and I'm saving yours by not telling the truth. And then we get Sean Payton responding to that by saying that he's going to decline commenting on the situation. This is what he said, quote, "No, I don't want to have a press conference based on social media." Well, you better have a press conference to try to save one of your best players on your team, and you don't have Drew Brees to throw to him anymore. So you better be doing all you can to keep Michael Thomas healthy so you have at least one A1 tier 1 wide receiver on this team. Yes, you have Alvin Kamara to fall back on, but you still need some sort of passing attack. Ask the Ravens. Not having any passing attack does not win in this league. So you better do everything in your power to keep Michael Thomas happy with this organization, because he's taking it as you're dragging his name through the mud, and he doesn't want to be a part of that. He doesn't want any part of you dragging his name through the mud. So we get that. So Sean Payton doesn't want to comment on it, and then we get Michael Thomas doing something again. Somebody tweeted out this, quote, "I think the Saints urged Michael Thomas not to get surgery last season in hopes to win a ring in Brees' last year. Now they blame him for not being healthy." So somebody tweeted that, and then Michael Thomas liked that tweet. So there's probably some nuggets of truth inside this tweet right here. We do know it was Drew Brees' last season, and not having Michael Thomas would have hurt this Saints team overall. They made it to the second round of the playoffs. Unfortunately got, beat by Tom Brady because Drew Brees, banged up and injured, threw 3 interceptions, and it's just unfortunate. So, Michael Thomas out here saying, hey, I could spill the tea and let it all loose and let it all fly if you guys want to play this attack game, because the Saints really kind of took the first shot. Michael Thomas really didn't say anything in the media. All he did was not pick up the phone call for this Saints team. Once again, always do what's best for your situation. The teams are going to kind of force you to get, to kind of not really disclose your injuries. Yes, we hear all the time of like, we see it in game day, in concussion protocol. They take you up, they put you in the blue medical tent. It's all about player safety and all that. But there is some sort of kind of underlying, hey, we still need you out there. Are you good to go? We hear it all the time by the athletes. It's like, if you don't have like a true broken bone or anything like that, then you need to really be forcing yourself out on the field. It's like an unspoken rule, an unwritten rule that, hey, if you're good to go, at least 1% good to go, you need to be out there because they're paying you all that money. You don't want to let your team down and all that. So it wouldn't be out of the realm of thinking that, the Saints were like, hey, let's hold off on the surgery. You can still play through it. You can still go. You feel good, right? You feel good. You can play. You can go out there and run some routes and catch some balls. Oh, you can? So let's hold off on that surgery because we don't know how longer Drew Brees is going to be here, and we still want to get another ring, and this may be our last best chance in a while to do that. So why don't you just stay out there a little bit longer? And then Michael Thomas, truly being the teammate that he is and the great player that he is, he stays out on there and maybe makes his slight injury a little bit worse for the greater good of the team. So I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility, folks. So we get that by Michael Thomas yesterday. But let's just really go deep into the situation. We got a nice write-up here by PFF. What was it about? The tensions between the Saints and Michael Thomas has only been getting worse. The team's salary cap situation make things even more complicated. They're simply not in a good spot right now. So how did we get to this point? So they have a nice little write-up. Let's see everything that's truly going on between this Michael Thomas and Saints kind of feud and, burning tensions that have been going around here for the last couple of weeks. So let's see truly what has been going on here. We can go through this a little quickly since we've kind of already, talked through it a little bit already. So here we go. The rocky relationship between the New Orleans Saints and receiver Michael Thomas has spilled over into the public, and it's not getting any better. Thomas has been dealing with a nagging ankle injury suffered in garbage time of a Week 1 win last season against Tampa Bay. He ended up missing time and appeared in just 7 total games, catching 40 passes for 438 yards 1 year after leading the league in 149 catches and 1,700 yards. Jeez Louise, that's fantastic. Thomas was placed on injury reserve late in the season, but returned for the postseason, where he caught 5 passes for 73 yards and with a touchdown in 2 games. So once again, you're on IR and then come back for the playoffs, folks. I mean, once again, maybe they were pushing him a little bit too much to go out there and play. All right, Jeff Duncan of NOLA.com reported on Saturday that as soon as the postseason ended, Thomas was advised by the Saints medical staff to have ankle surgery. But after getting a second opinion, Thomas decided to try a more conservative approach to see if the ankle would heal through rehab and therapy. The team reportedly supported Thomas and agreed upon a rehabilitation plan, and Thomas was given progressive benchmarks to hit over the next 3 months of his recovery while training. Things went the wrong way from there. According to Duncan, Thomas then went dark on the team and ignored multiple calls over a 3-month period as then team trainer Bayu Lowry, wide receivers coach Curtis Johnson, and head coach Sean Payton all tried to reach him to see how his ankle was doing. When Thomas reported back to the team in June, it was discovered his ankle did not heal, so he finally had the surgery. The recovery time from the surgery will cause Thomas to miss several games to start the 2021 season, and what we've been kind of hearing and reading is that he's going to be coming back after their bye, which is week 6, so he's going to miss the first 5 games at minimum. So Sean Payton showed his frustrations when talking to the media about the surgery happening so late. Quote, obviously we would have liked that to happen earlier rather than later, and quite honestly, it should have. So we've talked about Sean Payton, not truly, being upset, and this is kind of what we're getting. It's spilling over. We're getting Sean Payton saying some things. He's keeping a little bit of a tight lip, but he's still kind of addressing the issues while not addressing the issues. And then we got Michael Thomas going out on Twitter, liking tweets saying, hey, if you're going to kind of mess with my kind of reputation, I'm going to save yours, but not truly exposing everything. So what is the truth? Which side is kind of more right and which side has the more kind of ammo to kind of play with? Kind of seems like Michael Thomas. All right, what else do we get here? In what appears to be a reference to Duncan's report that he ignored calls for 3 months before deciding to have ankle surgery, Thomas wrote on Twitter on Monday, quote, "They try to damage your reputation. You saved theirs by not telling your side of the story." We talked about that. Peyton was asked to comment about that. He said, quote, "I don't want to have a press conference based on social media." We just hit that point. We got anything new here? Jeff Duncan of NOLA.com reported at the time that the Saints making him inactive for a game, quote, had less to do with the fight than it did his conduct after the fight. He talked back to coaches, including Sean Payton, and refused counsel after the incident. There was a belief among league circles last season that the Saints could eventually look to trade Thomas as more and more evidence of friction emerged. However, the Saints' approach to the salary cap is working against any potential trade. What else do we get here? Do we get anything else here in this article? I think that's what we're going to kind of do with this. So they're in a bad cap space. They don't really save that much money by, I think they only save like $1 million against the cap if they trade him now. So there's really no point in trading him. And there's just a lot of tension right here. And it's really going to decide, like we said, the first 5 games of the season for the Saints. If they're winning, this could get all swept under the rug. But if they're losing, it's just going to make this situation and the tensions even worse. So only time is going to tell how this situation plays out. And for Michael Thomas' sake, for Sean Payton's sake, Jameis Winston or Taysom Hill just needs to go out there and lead them to victories while Michael Thomas is still recovering from the surgery that he just had last month, or 2 months ago. So we'll keep an eye on the situation. Who's going to have the other dig? I mean, we're seeing digs this season. Unhappy players with their relationship with their organizations. Russell Wilson real early on for a quick period. We had Aaron Rodgers, and now we're getting Michael Thomas in the Saints. So we'll see how this one plays out, and who stays. Does anybody get traded? Do they all just kind of make up? Do they all just kind of pretend it's not happening for this year and then talk about it next year? So we'll see who's going to kind of do the next shot, who's going to take the next shot out here. Does Michael Thomas tweet again? Does Sean Payton have another tight-lipped kind of press conference about what is going on? So we'll keep an eye on the Saints situation. Alrighty, let's keep moving on here. Talk about Washington football team. Ron Rivera says even with offensive upgrades, Washington will have to, quote, fight and scrap this season. Well, they did that last season. I mean, this Washington team was nothing special. They only won 7 games. It was really their defense. Their offense still last season was truly nothing great, and they really were winning the games because of their defense. So they were fighting and scrapping last season, so this season really shouldn't be any different. Yes, you have a new quarterback at the helm, Ryan Fitzpatrick. You have a new weapon in Curtis Samuel, who should be really solid, but you still have the same running game. You still have the same defense majorly. You still have, most of the offensive line and the tight end and the other wide receivers, and you still have Ron Rivera. So nothing is truly going to change overall for this Washington team, but let's get up their schedule just to see how close those games were last season and them really kind of fighting and scrapping for those close few wins. It was only 7 wins. It won the division, but at the same time, it was still only 7 wins. They're going to have to get that up this year if they want a chance to repeat as NFC East champions. So let's get up Washington. Get up their schedule from last season. And just see how much fighting and scrapping they were doing. So here we go. Like we said, went 7-9 last season. Nothing great. Let's go to their games, and here we go. So they win week 1, beating the Eagles 27-17. So a real solid win right there. That's real solid. A 10-point win against a division rival. Fantastic week 1, coming out of the gate strong. But then they go on a nice big old losing streak here. They lose to the Cardinals 15-30. They lose to the Browns 34-20. They lose to the Ravens 31-17. They lose to the Rams 30-10. And then they lost a close one to the Giants 20-19. Then they go and beat the Cowboys 25-3. They lose against the Giants again 23-20. They lose against the Lions 30-27. And then they go on a nice little 4-game winning streak here at the end of the season. And this helps as well, learning to win at the end of the season, trying to carry that over into this season. So another small silver lining, small green flag for this Washington team. They went out and beat the Bengals 20-9. They beat the Cowboys 41-16. They beat the Steelers 23-17, and then they beat the 49ers 23-15. Then the last 3 games of the season, they lose against the Seahawks 15-20. The Panthers, they lose against them 13-20. And then the last game of the season, they beat the Eagles 20-14. So they beat the Eagles' first game in the last game of last season. So they were fighting a lot of close games here, some blowout losses as well real early on in the season. So really kind of fighting and clawing and scrapping their way to those few wins last season. Now let's go into this article and see what Ron Rivera is saying here. Alrighty, so here we go. Let's start here. The other essential component to Washington's success is the maturation of its receiving cores. McLaurin is already on his way to being a star after only 2 seasons, and tight end Logan Thomas is a reliable playmaker. The bigger question is whether the pieces around them can contribute on a weekly basis. The football team has added a number of new faces to bolster the passing game, including rookie De'Ami Brown and veterans Curtis Samuel and Adam Humphries, but it still remains to be seen how they all fit together. Let's also be real here. This isn't going to be an offense that will rival the Kansas City Chiefs. Oh, truly not that. You don't got the number 1 wide receiver on your team, Tyreek Hill. You don't have the number 1 quarterback on your team, Patty Mahomes. You don't have the number 1 tight end in the league, Travis Kelce. You don't have top 5 coach in the league, Andy Reid. So, of course, the offense isn't going to be Kansas City-esque. It needs to be a unit that can be more dynamic and reliable. Quote by Ron Rivera, "We want to be very consistent. Get the ball, drive it, control the clock a little. We'll punt, but we don't want a 3 and out. We need to be consistent and then put our defense in position to pin our ears back late in the game. That's what you love to have. The offense can make plays when they need to make plays and put us in a position to win. You really need to be able to do it all, but you have to be able to push the ball down the field." This is now offensive coordinator talking. You really have to be able to do it all, but you have to be able to push the ball down the field. It opens up everything, and not just for the rest of our passing game, but the entire offense. You look back at last year, and we did a pretty good job of spreading the field horizontally, getting the ball out of our hands, helping the pass blocking, and letting guys run after the catch. When you can now compete the ball down the field, it just opens it up even more. So that's where Ryan Fitzpatrick comes in, the true gunslinger, the fearless gunslinger, the always backup quarterback that has really had nothing to play for in a starting role, so he just lets it loose and lets it fly, and we don't really like it. It results into 50-50, really kind of 500, nothing great, nothing bad, average-ish overall. So we get Ron Rivera saying, they want to kind of just control the clock and just kind of, let their defense be their main thing. Let our offense, do a little here, get the ball down the field, drive it a little bit. If we have to punt, we'll punt. If we'll settle for field goals, that's no big deal. But we have to really just rely on our defense, and that's what they were doing last season, folks, just truly relying on that real solid defense, especially at the end of the season when we see their point totals on what they were giving up. I mean, look at this, folks. Their last kind of what do we got? Their last 7 games of the seasons, they gave up 9 points, 16 points, 17 points, 15 points, 20 points, 20 points, 14 points. I mean, folks, that's absolutely spectacular. You will most likely win all of those games. If you allow a team to score 20 or less points, you've got a real great chance of winning that game. And that's what the Washington football team did at the end of last season. So the defense really took control of it, took command of the overall team. Now the passing offense is a little bit better with Ryan Fitzpatrick. Ryan Fitzpatrick is better than Dwayne Haskins. Ryan Fitzpatrick, is he better than Alex Smith? At this point, I would say yes. After the injury, before injury, pre-injury, Alex Smith may be a little bit better than Ryan Fitzpatrick, but after injury, Alex Smith is worse than Ryan Fitzpatrick at the moment. Taylor Heinicke, we don't really know what he can do, but it seems like Ryan Fitzpatrick is beating him out for the starting job, so we would have to kind of say right now Ryan Fitzpatrick is better than Taylor Heinicke. So Ryan Fitzpatrick right now is better than all the quarterbacks combined for the Washington football team last season, and the offense was truly the worst thing about this team overall. So if the defense is going to pick up exactly where it left off last season, and if Ryan Fitzpatrick can give them that extra oomph, that extra push on offense, this could be a real solid team. And that's why we've already done our team refresher with the Washington football team, and we still have them pretty solid. We had them going 9-7, but we know that they have a high ceiling of 13-4, just dependent on how well Ryan Fitzpatrick goes out there and plays the game. And look at us clowns out here. I just noticed this. They play 17 games, so you can't go 9-7. You have to go 9-8. How crazy is that? So that gets us again. Let's update that. 9-8. Ceiling is 13-4. That still works out to 17 games. All right. So what else? Did we get another quote here? Anything by want to hear from Ron Rivera? Here we go. All right, we get another quote. So let's read the lead up. Here we go. The great thing about the football team is, and how crazy is that? We can write that in an article. The crazy thing about the football team, it's like, change your name. And we know the name change is coming next season, but geez Louise, it should have happened this year. I don't understand why we're having 2 years of Washington football team. What were you doing last offseason? I don't get it. Oh yeah, you were fixing your image because of all the sexual assault allegations from the owner and that whole cheerleading scandal. Oh yeah, that's what y'all were doing, clearing your name. We forgot. All right, the great thing about the football team is they understand who they are at this stage. This offense has a chance to make huge strides because the players grasp how rare it is to succeed with so many issues on that side of the football in 2020. In fairness, a large number of those problems had plenty to do with the circumstances that were unforeseeable, such as the revolving door at quarterback and the impact that COVID-19 had on the chance to develop some young skill players. The Washington players also realized that, as Rivera told his team recently, quote, "You're not going to show up and do what you did last year. People know who you are now." And that's going to kind of, ring true for that defense. Yes, the defense was really great last year, but they're going to have to switch it up. Like we say about that Bucs defense, it was, absolutely magnificent in the Super Bowl. But now, you're the team to beat. All eyes are on you on what they do. Coaching staffs, defensive coordinators, offensive coordinators had the entire, 6 months of the offseason to prepare for what you're going to potentially be doing this year and how to stop you. Finding out all kind of the weaknesses of your great players, your best players on your team, seeing what they do well so you can kind of avoid that when they face you, and seeing what they do bad so you can take advantage and exploit it when you do face them this season. So all eyes are now on this Washington defense, and we'll see how well they've kind of, hidden it and transformed it. So they're still great and still doing what they do, but, catching the opposing team off guard. So the Washington players also realized that, as Ron Rivera said. Yes, we've read that. All right, another quote here by Ron Rivera, quote, "We got to the point in Carolina where we were feeling like we could just show up and turn it on, but we had to work at it. That's what I feel the guys here. That's what I tell the guys here. We're trying to get them to understand that we have to keep working. We're not the 85 Bears or New England from a couple of years ago. We're not that type of team. My concern is that we don't mature. We're going to have to fight and scrap for everything we get." So, not the best thing for a head coach to say. My concern is that we don't mature. Okay, well, make sure they mature. You still got another 5 weeks to clean that up. So Ron Rivera, we know he runs a tight ship, and we know he's highly respected by players and coaches and really everybody in the NFL. So hopefully he can kind of whip these kids into shape and get them ready. A young, inexperienced team overall, having to kind of, having a lot of success last year. I mean, forget the win totals, being the NFC, being just a division champion is still great. Getting into the playoffs is still great. Having a home field playoff game is still great. Hopefully they didn't kind of take that all for granted and think it's easy to do. It's going to be a lot harder this season to do that. Now that Dak Prescott's going to be there, hopefully for the entire year. Now that we expect Daniel Jones to be better with Saquon Barkley back and that freaking star-studded offense. So 7 wins, I can guarantee 7 wins does not win the NFC East this year. And let's see if Ryan Fitzpatrick can move the offense a little bit more. And let's see how this defense is still kind of progressing after kind of a successful back end of last season. So they're going to have to fight and claw and scrap for everything that they want this year. And we'll see if Washington football team is up for it. All right, let's move on here. We're talking about Zach Wilson again, folks, and this is not good because we have not been hearing this type of language with any other rookie quarterback. So it's truly shaping up early. I know we still got, preseason games to mature from and learn from and still 4 or 5 weeks to get ready for the start of the season. But I think of right now, at this moment, Zach Wilson is potentially the worst rookie quarterback of this year's draft class because Robert Saleh on Zach Wilson says for most rookies, it gets worse before it gets better. Okay, does it? Is that true for most rookies? Yeah, maybe for most rookies, but you don't really want that for, second overall pick in the draft, your franchise guy, your rookie starting quarterback. You don't want to say that. We have not heard that about Justin Fields, folks. We have not heard Matt Nagy say, well, for most rookies, it gets worse before it gets better. Justin Fields has been getting better every single day, and we've been seeing that, and we're once again going to hear about Justin Fields. I know we talk about Justin Fields every day on the show, folks, but that's just because there's new developments every single day, whether it's a new quote, whether it's a new video, whatever it is. We don't get that from Zach Wilson, folks. If we did, we'd be talking about it, but we're not. That's why we don't talk about Zach Wilson. And the few times that we do talk about Zach Wilson, it's always really not that great. We just talked about him last week on the show when he was kind of going through his kind of, game scenario to get him ready for the preseason game. They're like, yeah, he wasn't really looking that great. And we're going to talk about his stats right now on what he did yesterday in training camp. Here we go. Practice is over. This was yesterday. Practice is over. Zach Wilson was so today. Team drills, he was 5 of 13, trash. Red zone team inside the 10. He was 2 of 4 with 2 touchdowns. I mean, you're at the 10, so you're going to score the touchdowns on those completions. So 2 of 4 with 2 touchdowns. All right, not bad. 3 of 5 during the first team period. Only pass that went over 10 yards was to Cole. So once again, little dink and dunk, going 3 for 5 in the first team period. That's not great. And then third down team period, he went 0 of 4 and took a sack. So not converting on third down. What are we doing out there? So Zach Wilson is truly not looking the best out here. Robert Saleh saying for most rookies, it gets worse before it gets better. That's nothing you want to hear from your franchise quarterback. We want to hear about the Justin Fields getting better every single day, looking great every single day. Even Trey Lance, we're hearing big things about Trey Lance, folks, and how he is just progressing every single day. So let's continue on here with these rookies and what everybody's saying about them, and maybe why Robert Saleh maybe made his first big mistake here as the head coach, drafting the wrong guy, maybe not evaluating the tape correctly. I mean, he had his pick of the crop, folks. He could have picked Trey Lance. He could have picked Mac Jones. He could have picked Justin Fields, but he went with Zach Wilson. Was he just trying to outsmart everybody? What did he look into that was truly making him go for Zach Wilson over all these other quarterbacks? Obviously, you couldn't have gotten Trevor Lawrence, but even Trevor Lawrence, we're not hearing big home run things like Justin Fields. It is still kind of an open quarterback competition there in Jacksonville between, Trevor Lawrence and Gardner Minshew, and the difference between Justin Fields being in a quarterback competition between Trevor Lawrence is that Trevor Lawrence was already expected to be the starter. Nobody expects Gardner Minshew to go out and win the starting job, folks, besides Gardner Minshew fans. That is it. Nobody in the national media, nobody that's just like, hey, didn't they just drafted a quarterback first overall? He's not starting. Why is that? But with Justin Fields, Matt Nagy already got Andy Dalton and said he was the starter, and nobody was expecting the Bears to go out and get a quarterback. Justin Fields kind of fell in their lap, and then they just got him just to get him. So now, yeah, you have to go out and earn your role after we already kind of have our starter in Andy Dalton. So that's why those two, quarterback duels are different, and why Trevor Lawrence not winning the starting job is a little bit of a red flag. Not a big red flag, but a tiny little red flag. So let's hear what they're saying about these other rookie quarterbacks. Here we go. Trent Williams, who is the 49ers offensive lineman, he says this about Trey Lance, quote, "You see him throw the ball and you see him run the ball and you know that's a generational talent." Jeez, wow. To throw the words generational talent around there, you don't throw those words out there willy-nilly, folks. And once again, you hear nobody saying that again about Zach Wilson. You get, for most rookies, it gets worse before it gets better. Hey, this is a generational talent out there. So, not great there. And then we get this from The Athletic's Adam Johns. He reports the Chicago Bears coaches have been impressed by Justin Fields' natural arm talent. What do we get on Zach Wilson, folks? For most rookies, it gets worse before it gets better. Trey Lance is being called a generational talent. Bears are impressed with Justin Fields, saying he has natural arm talent. So this could be a big swing and a miss for Robert Saleh. Year one, first year as a head coach, and you have to make the decision for the future of the Jets on who to go with as the starting quarterback, and he picked Zach Wilson. Maybe he picked the bust in the draft, folks. Maybe he did, because we have not been hearing anything great about Zach Wilson. The best thing that we've been hearing about Zach Wilson is that he had a good day of practice. That is it. And then we get the so-so day yesterday. And Robert Saleh saying, yeah, for most rookies, tempering down those expectations. Don't expect, hey, I'm Robert Saleh. Don't expect Zach Wilson to be, great week one. For most rookies, it kind of gets worse before it gets better. I guess, maybe, but not for top 5 picks. You really expect those top 5, top 10 draft picks to come out there and be great starting week 1 and getting the job done. Yes, for, rounds, 2 through 7. Yes, for most rookies, it gets worse before it gets better. But not for your face of the franchise guy. Not for the quarterback where you had kind of a pool about 5 quarterbacks to choose from. You don't really say that about those quarterbacks. So this is not looking great for Robert Saleh, strike one of a head coach, and not looking great for Zach Wilson. He may not be able to handle it, and he may not be the guy here with this Jets team that really needs a quick turnaround. The sooner the better, and, if Zach Wilson is, still kind of, floundering out here, it's going to be a big old meatball on Robert Saleh's head, the general manager's head, the owner of the Jets' head. You're like, why did you hire Robert Saleh? Why did you think he's the guy? Robert Saleh's meatball is, why did you go after Zach Wilson that heavy? And why are you not ready to turn this organization around right now? We trusted you, and you did not do that. You're kind of, regarded in the same category, I hate to say it, as Todd Bowles and Adam Gase, if he can't turn around this Jets organization, because those two head coaches couldn't do it either. So we'll see how Robert Saleh and Zach Wilson keep progressing. But let's keep going with some other quarterbacks, because Zach Wilson may not even be good next year. So that's not great, because we get this from Joe Burrow. Quarterback Joe Burrow describes his training camp struggles as, quote, a mental thing. Well, that's not great, because what have we been hearing about Justin Fields and Trey Lance? Justin Fields has great mental capacities, folks. We are hearing that he's a quick learner. He's a great leader. He doesn't really let the mental aspect, the speed of the game, affect him. He goes out there and gets the job done. We've been hearing the same thing about Trey Lance as well. So we're hearing great. I mean, folks, we really have not heard any knock on Trey Lance or Justin Fields, and it's real bizarre, folks. These are rookies. We don't expect them to come out there and be great, right off the rip. But that's all we've been hearing about them. So now we get year 2 quarterback Joe Burrow saying, man, oh man, the mental is still there for me. So that's not making, us feel any better on Zach Wilson. Be like, oh, it's just a rookie thing. So he'll be good, later in the season. He'll be competitive later in the season. He'll be competitive next season, because Joe Burrow's coming out there and saying, yeah, I've still got this kind of mental thing that I'm still trying to deal with. And, that's why I'm struggling here in training camp. This is not great, folks. So he may not just have it, folks. The man just may not have it. Zach Wilson just may not be the guy. Obviously, we've still got, preseason games, and we are going to dissect them very, very heavily, especially at these quarterback battles, just to see what these guys are putting out there on tape. What are they looking like in their throwing mechanics? Are they doing the dink and dunk? Are they trying to air it out? Are they placing it exactly where it needs to be, where only the receiver can make a play on the ball and not get batted away by the defender, not get intercepted by the defender? So we're hearing great things from Trey Lance, generational talent. We're hearing great things from Justin Fields, natural arm talent, impressing the Chicago Bears every single day. And then Robert Saleh on Zach Wilson. For most rookies, it gets worse before it gets better. I mean, it hasn't gotten worse for Justin Fields. It hasn't gotten worse for Trey Lance, and they've been getting better. So don't lope all of these quarterbacks together, Robert. Maybe you just missed on this one. It's unfortunate. This was your first major decision. You maybe have whiffed on it. It's unfortunate. I'm just telling y'all what we've been hearing, folks. We've been tracking these quarterbacks for the last 3 months. Ever since they got drafted, we've been tracking them, folks. We were a little sold on Zach Wilson. Where do we put Zach Wilson in our quarterback big board? We put him number 2? No, we put Justin Fields number 2. We put Trevor Lawrence number 1, Justin Fields number 2, Zach Wilson number 3. So we kind of saw it. We saw Justin Fields being a little bit better than Zach Wilson. We didn't expect Trey Lance to be as good as he was. So that's, our knock. Robert Saleh just saw Zach Wilson a little bit better than Justin Fields. And we didn't buy it. We didn't believe it. This was our big board, folks. This is what we did. So we'll see who's right. Us or Robert Saleh. We'll see. Yeah, we will truly see. All right. Let's keep moving on here. All righty. Cliff Kingsbury. Jeez, this is crazy. But, all right, let's see. Cliff Kingsbury hopes Kyler Murray follows the Josh Allen path to a big contract. All right, folks, what is Josh Allen's path to a big contract? Stinking it up the first 2 years and then having an unbelievable, unimaginable year 3. Now, Kyler Murray is going into year 3, and he's already looking pretty decent the first 2 seasons. Completion percentage is leaps and bounds and not even in the same stratosphere as Josh Allen did the first 2 seasons. Kyler Murray, year 1, 64% completion percentage, 3,700 yards, 20 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. The interceptions are high. The touchdown to interception ratio is kind of the worst thing about Kyler Murray. Year number 2, completion percentage, 67%. Absolutely amazing. 3,900 yards. Very, very solid as well. We like to see him kind of hit that 4,000 yard mark, but he's getting better every single season, so we can, be fine with, 3,900 yards. Touchdown to interception ratio, 26 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, 2-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio. We'd like to see the interceptions be below 10 in single digits, but overall getting better every single year. And he's a dual threat quarterback. How many rushing yards did he have last season? He had 819 rushing yards. You pair that with 3,900 passing yards, we're looking at 4,700 yards from scrimmage in totality for Kyler Murray, which is absolutely fantastic. So if Cliff Kingsbury is expecting a big leap in year 3, I mean, folks, Josh Allen went from 58% completion percentage to 69 in 1 year, jump. So he improved his completion percentage by 11%. If Kyler Murray improves his completion percentage by 11%, we will be talking about 78% completion percentage. Folks, I think that would be the record. I don't think anybody else threw. Let me see this. Let me get the official record up. Best completion percentage in 1 year. What's this at? All right, here we go. The number 1 is Drew Brees at 74%. So Kyler Murray would be at 70. What did we say? 78? 78. That would be a record. A record, folks. Can he do it? if Cliff Kingsbury is expecting that kind of, same approach that Josh Allen got, that would be the next step Kyler Murray takes. 11% in year 3. How crazy. Let's see yardage-wise. Josh Allen in 2019 threw for 3,000 yards. Last season, he threw for 4,500 yards. That's 1,500 yard difference. If Kyler Murray threw 1,500 more yards this season than he did last season, folks, we're talking about 5,400 yards. 5,400 yards. Let's get that record up. What's the highest passing yard season? Would he set that record to? Peyton Manning threw for 5,400 yards in 2013, the highest. That is it. So he would be kind of right on the verge, depending on what kind of those last few digits are in his 5,400 yard season. Kyler Murray could be setting another record this year. Fantastic. Let's see the touchdown jump by Josh Allen. He threw 20 touchdowns in 2019 in 37 last season. So that's 17 touchdowns more. That would put Kyler Murray at... Let me bring out the calculator. I'm struggling with the quick math quickly off the dome. I apologize. 26 plus 17. We're at 36. 43? Is that correct? 43 touchdowns? Now, that's not the record. I think Peyton Manning threw 50. Drew Brees may have thrown 50, something like that. That wouldn't be the record. But overall, that would be an outstanding season, folks. 78% completion percentage, 5,400 yards, 46 touchdowns, folks. I mean, geez, oh no, it wouldn't be 46, 43. 43 touchdowns. I mean, folks, could you imagine that type of season while rushing for maybe 800 yards like he did last season? So, if Cliff Kingsbury's expecting or wants and hopes Kyler Murray to follow the same Josh Allen path to a big contract, we're looking at one of the best statistical passing seasons of all time. So buckle up, folks. Kyler Murray, I mean, he's got the pieces to do it, folks. DeAndre Hopkins, AJ Green, geez Louise. I mean, folks, we gush about all these wide receivers that the Cardinals have. Let's get it up for another reminder, folks. Isabella, I forget his first name, but we're talking about 5 deep. Did they just bring in John Brown? We got DeAndre Hopkins, AJ Green, Christian Kirk. They draft Rondell Moore. They got Andy Isabella, folks. So, I mean, we're talking about 5 deep wide receivers right here. So, if Kyler Murray plays his best, we could be talking about the best season ever by a quarterback, and it's little old Kyler Murray, who we do highly regard right here. We have Kyler Murray number 7th overall in the current quarterback landscape. We rank him number 7, so it wouldn't be out of the realm for him to go out and do this. So watch out for Kyler Murray this season, folks. Cliff Kingsbury's got big hopes on the man, and he's got all the pieces to go out there and set the best statistical season ever produced. Jeez Louise. All right, let's keep moving on here. What's up next? All right, here we go. We get 21 things that Greg Rosenthal has learned after the first 2 weeks of training camp. Now, what are Greg Rosenthal's credentials, folks? Just football. Just football. He may have his own podcast. I believe he writes for NFL.com. And he's got 213 followers on Twitter. So that's his credentials. He's also blue checkmark verified. So he knows what he's talking about, folks. Well, we accidentally closed the tweet, so let's get back to that quickly. Here we go. All right, let's see what these takeaways are from training camp. Let's see if it's stuff that we've already said, that we've already looked at, what's going on here. Our biggest takeaways from training camp so far before we get into this and reveal what his are. Justin Fields is the best quarterback of all time. That's our main takeaway. Zach Wilson's really just not it. Teddy Bridgewater is better than Drew Lock. What else do we got so far, folks? Najee Harris is going to be great. We know that. What else? Is that the only takeaways we've learned so far? Is Saquon Barkley's pissing us off a little bit? That's another thing that we've learned. So let's go into this and see what Greg Rosenthal is saying. He's around the NFL editor. All right. So here we go. His 21 takeaways. Takeaway number 1. There is a non-zero chance that Corey Clement leads all Giants running backs in week 1 touches. Well, that's not what we want to hear. What does he say? NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport reported last week that Saquon Barkley is expected back no later than week 3? We didn't read that. When did that come out? Are we putting a timetable no later than week 3? So that's not good. Potentially not. I mean, exactly what we've been seeing. Tight-lipped. Nobody wants to put a timetable on it. Maybe not out there week 1. So that's not great. So, Ian Rappaport reported last week that Saquon Barkley is expected back no later than week 3. We didn't even read that. Where did that come from, folks? We watch this man every single day. We talk about this man every single day. We didn't come across this article. Jeez. Which sounded like bad news wrapped up in good news sandwich. Barkley's coming off the PUP list on Monday is a great sign, but it's not. But it's telling the team already has serious doubts whether the star runner will be ready for the opener, which we could have told you. This is what we've been saying, folks. We just said this earlier on the show that we don't expect this man to be here week 1 just because nobody's saying anything, and they're taking it really, really turtle snail slow. So, all right. Greg Rosenthal is kind of seeing what we're seeing. May not expect this man back week 1. All right, what's takeaway number 2? Colts coach Frank Reich said it was, quote, a fair question to ask whether 6th-round rookie quarterback Sam Ehlinger is worthy of a bigger role after outplaying nominal starter Jacob Eason in practice over last week in the wake of Carson Wentz's foot surgery. So, all right, Sam Ehlinger kind of getting into a solid rotation. When we kind of previewed these two quarterbacks, we liked Jacob Eason a little bit better than Sam Ehlinger, but we have been hearing, and we are going to read a story about Sam Ehlinger kind of getting the starting reps with the ones today. So Sam Ehlinger could potentially beat out Jacob Eason for the first couple of weeks. We're not really sure how many games Carson Wentz is going to be out, and they're not going to bring in a quarterback. It's going to be either Jacob Eason or Sam Ehlinger. So we'll see which one goes out and wins the starting job here as we get into the heated quarterback battles of preseason. All right, takeaway number 3. Something strange is up with CJ Henderson. The Toolsy Jaguars corner selected 9th overall in last year's draft. After missing the offseason and the start of training camp to injuries and then the reserve COVID-19 list, Henderson was absent over the weekend for personal issues. ESPN Jeremy Fowler then reported that the Jaguars could be listening to trade offers for Henderson. Is this a case of a new coach, Urban Meyer, having a short fuse with a previous regime selection? So we'll see how Urban Meyer's transforming his team. This is now his team. He brought in Tim Tebow. He drafted Trevor Lawrence. Maybe he's not really liking what CJ Henderson is doing, and they trade him away. So we'll keep an eye on CJ Henderson and if he ends up getting traded. Takeaway number 4, there is nothing to worry about when it comes to OBJ's cautious return to training camp. We've been kind of seeing OBJ working out in the lab. We heard Jarvis Landry say this is the best he's ever looked. So let's see what else we get here. With the Browns playing it safe in terms of OBJ not fully practicing every day or against live defenses, with that disclaimer out of the way, Beckham's a key player to watch in the next month as he ramps up activity in hopes of playing week 1. It's possible he won't be ready for a full complement of snaps right away, so we'll see. Maybe he's kind of in the same boat as Saquon Barkley, not trying to push it too much. Quote number 5, at some point in training camp, a player's absence goes from a slight concern to one with repercussions. Alrighty. What else do we get? Here we go. The timeline moves more quickly with rookies. That's why I already have my doubts whether Vikings first-round left tackle Christian Darrisaw and Bears second-round left tackle Tevin Jenkins have already missed too much time to start week 1. Alrighty, that's never great. Despite depth charts are always presented post-draft as if rookies solve the rookie roster holes. Then August reality hits with either injuries or underperformance. Chad Graff of The Atlantic believes that Vikings tackle Rashad Hill could start the opener over Darisaw. Third-round guard Wyatt Davis, also viewed as a potential starter for a troubled Minnesota line, has also possibly missed too much time. The Bears may release of left tackle Charles Leno Jr. was strange at the time and assumed Jenkins could take over right away. It looks even stranger now, especially with a rookie quarterback in Justin Fields expected to take the field at some point this year, week 1 hopefully. It's difficult to know how and when to sound the alarm bells for injuries. Bears veteran safety Eddie Jackson, a huge part of the team's defense, is still on the team's non-football injury list. The Bears had 27 players out of work at a recent practice. 27, yeah, that's not great for the Bears. Alrighty, number 6, the core muscle injury to Saints kicker Will Lutz, reported by Rappaport, sounds like it will knock Lutz out of the start of the season. The number of potential new Week 1 starters in New Orleans is up to 11. Jeez Louise, like we said, real kind of pressing matters here with this Saints team, and they need to win early to kind of sweep everything under the rug that's kind of brewing here. And if they have 11 new starters in Week 1, it's not going to be the most promising season for the Saints. And we've already looked at the Saints in our team refresher, and we have them really only going 6-11, folks. We don't see this being a good season for the Saints team. And we are going to talk about the kicker situation about the Saints because they just signed a new kicker, and we're going to see what he's all about in a couple of stories here. But Will Lutz being out, not great. All right, takeaway number 7. The Miami Dolphins avoided a protracted holdout with cornerback Xavier Howard. We talked about, how they already, signed his new deal. He got the new money. He's all good to go. Takeaway number 8. The Patriots may have to give more than assurance to Stephon Gilmore to get him back on the field. New England's best cornerback quietly remains on the PUP list, coming off a serious quadriceps injury. He received a 1-year pay bump before the 2020 season, and a similar move could be coming for him in the coming weeks. So, we've heard Stephon Gilmore say he's going to be playing here. He will be playing this season. He's not going to hold out, but you still want him as soon as possible out there practicing just to shore up the defense so everybody knows what's going on. But Stephon Gilmore knowing, hey, I'm still on the last year of my deal. I want a long-term deal with a lot of money, but I'm not going to risk my health because if I get injured, I'm not going to get the deal. So he's, staying on the PUP list so he doesn't have to go out there and practice and risk an injury. All right, takeaway number 9. Patriots 2019 first-round pick Nikhil Harry will probably always be known around Foxborough as the guy Bill Belichick drafted over A.J. Brown and Deebo Samuel. Nikhil Harry has definitely not been making that impact. We heard early on in the offseason that he kind of, his agent requested a trade because he wasn't getting that production that he wanted. But Nikhil Harry, over the last 2 weeks since training camp has began, has really been a bright spot for this Patriots team, and we are going to talk about that in a second as well. 2 similar physical wideouts from that draft class. We don't need to talk about them. We know A.J. Brown is great. We know Deebo Samuel is great. And we'll see if Nikhil Harry can kind of reach that status this year. Takeaway number 10, what do we get? Texans third-round pick Nico Collins has played well enough to figure into the starting mix in Houston. Brandon Cooks could wind up playing on the inside plenty with Collins and Chris Conley out wide. Kiki Cutie also figures to sneak into the rotation, but at the end of the day, it's the Texans, and they'll be trash as always, so it doesn't matter if they've got good wide receivers or not. Takeaway number 11. Fox's broadcast of the Cowboys-Steelers Hall of Fame game gave us some context for Dak Prescott's shoulder injury. Jay Glazer reported that Prescott's injury was more typical in a baseball pitcher, so the team consulted doctors for the Texas Rangers. That sounded less than ideal. Troy Aikman, who understands how the Cowboys PR machine works better than anyone, had this to say, quote, "The Cowboys are downplaying it, but I think when your franchise quarterback is missing the amount of time he's missing, I tend to think it's probably a little bit more significant than what they have let on." So another thing to watch, folks. HBO's Hard Knocks premieres tonight. Let's see if we get any nuggets of information. I'm sure they won't let it pass the editing process. Jerry Jones, I'm sure, has his thumb hard on the HBO Knocks and what they can air and what they can show and all that. So we may not get the total picture, but we'll see if we can pick up a little bit of breadcrumbs. And this is not great for Dak Prescott coming off of an injury, having another injury. And, a baseball pitcher, they compare it to more typical in the baseball pitcher. What's their bad, the bad shoulder. There's a real bad injury to get if you're a pitcher. I'm blanking on the name. Unfortunate. So if Dak Prescott's got something like that, maybe a torn rotator cuff or something like that, that's not going to be great coming off the injury after just getting paid. So, and now they don't have that backup. Like we said, last year they had Andy Dalton. This year they're back to Ben DiNucci, folks. We just saw him in preseason. They put up 3 points. Nothing great. All right, takeaway number 12. Josh Allen's contract ultimately had more guarantees than Patrick Mahomes' deal with the Chiefs. Yeah, we've already talked about that. We think it's truly deserved, though. All right, takeaway number 13. Another 2018 quarterback, Baker Mayfield, is still waiting for his second contract. He has publicly avoided angling for a new contract, but his response to Allen's mega deal was a classic example of protesting too much. Quote, "I'm not doing the negotiation, so quite frankly, I don't give a damn." That's what Baker Mayfield had to say. But we expect, if he continues to be that above-average game manager, he should be able to get a nice, solid deal. Obviously not as big as Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes because those are Tier 1, A1 quarterbacks in this league. And Baker Mayfield, he just hasn't shown that just quite yet, which is not a knock. Takeaway number 14. By all accounts, the race for the 49ers' number 3 receiver job is over. It's going to be Mohamed Sanu, who has shown very little during the regular season the last 2 years. That's a concern if Brandon Ayuk or Deebo Samuel gets hurt this season. Takeaway number 15. The number 3 quarterback job in San Francisco is probably accounted for as well. Nate Sudfeld beating out Josh Rosen. And Josh Rosen, how unfortunate. This man can't even be a third string. He was the number 1 overall pick for the Cardinals for one season. And then they got rid of him and shipped him off. And then the Dolphins picked him up and he was trash. And then he went to some other places and sat and never played. And now he's here with the 49ers. And once again, still looking trash. So Josh Rosen is still trash. Unfortunate. The biggest bust, is he the biggest bust since Ryan Leaf? I mean, potentially, I would say, maybe even bigger. All right, takeaway number 16. Will Fuller has been out of Dolphins practice with a foot injury. Health is the chief factor preventing Fuller from a huge long-term contract, and he'll have to be healthy this season to earn one in 2022 free agency. And we also know he's suspended for, the first 2-3 games of the season, so he has a little bit extra time to heal up a little bit. Takeaway number 17. Friend of the program, Bo Wolf of The Atlantic, has noted that Jordan Mailata has been consistently winning his position battle with 2019 first-round pick Andre Dillard for Philadelphia's left tackle job. The Eagles have enviable tackle depth with Lane Johnson also healthy. Mailata, who didn't play football until 2017, is shaping up to be the International Player Pathway program's biggest success story yet. He's on track for a large second contract. So the offensive line is potentially the best thing for this Eagles team coming up this year. Takeaway number 19. Some enterprising analysis will inevitably do a post-season examination on how opting out of college football in 2020 impacted highly drafted prospects. While it's an admittedly small and self-selecting sample size, Cowboys linebacker Michael Parsons and Buccaneers pass rusher Joe Tyron are two examples of rookies who have started out like they belong after skipping games last year. Both players have been among the most consistently impactful performers in their respective training camps. So we just saw Michael Parsons recover a fumble in the Hall of Fame game. Give him some credit there. Takeaway number 19. The steady drumbeat of Jeff Okudah love is in Lions camp is worth keeping an eye on. The number 3 overall pick in 2020 had a brutal rookie season, but a new coaching staff and new scheme make him a player to watch early in the season to see if he makes a big leap. Playing in the NFC North against Devontae Adams, Justin Jefferson, and Allen Robinson make it difficult, so we'll see how the cornerback does. Takeaway number 20. The Steelers' offensive line was a talking point all season. I thought the anxiety was a bit overblown because their young players weren't likely to be worse than the aging linemen in 2020. Then again, I didn't expect 3 starters to be injured during training camp, while another, Kevin Dotson, is benched because Mike Tomlin says he's not working hard enough. And then takeaway number 20, the last one. Joe Burrow's daily struggles against a remade Bengals defense in camp are noteworthy. Quote here by Joe Burrow saying, quote, "It's frustrating right now, more so just not feeling like myself. I know I've put in the work to make my knee feel good, make my body ready for the season. It's just now trusting my abilities, trusting my work, trusting everything." A torn ACL can impact accuracy and confidence. In addition to any changes in Burrow's mobility, he won't play much in preseason, if at all, so he needs to make progress on the practice field to earn some confidence heading into week 1 against Mike Zimmer's Vikings. So Joe Burrow, once again, the mental, the ACL playing factors into him not really progressing well this season. Saquon Barkley, also an ACL injury, truly taking it slow. So some things to note and to look for as kind of week 1 progresses. So that's Greg Rosenthal's takeaways of training camp so far, and we've been pretty much talking about a lot of these, most of them. All right, let's continue on. Here we go. Got a lot more to talk about here. We are not going to get to an NFL team refresher today, folks. Truly unfortunate. All right, let's talk about this. Ja'Marr Chase is not showing as much separation as hoped. And folks, leading up to the draft, that's all we were hearing about. Ja'Marr Chase has to be the first wide receiver drafted. He's got to go over Devontae Smith. He's got to go over Jaylen Waddle. He is so great. He is so good. But what our kind of one red flag on him was that he didn't play last year. So he's a little step behind. He's a year removed from football, folks. He opted out of the COVID year in college at LSU. So that kind of affected our thinking, and we do have Ja'Marr Chase number 2 on our big board. We did have Devontae Smith number 1, Jaylen Waddle number 3, and Jaylen Waddle has truly kind of been impressing everybody in the Dolphins camp. The man's been looking really great and is able to get that great separation. So Ja'Marr Chase, I mean, people wanted him to win the Heisman. People wanted this man to be the number 1 overall pick, the number 1 wide receiver taken, because he was so great at, getting separation in the slant game and all that. But now it's not really translating that well to the NFL. So that's a little bit of a knock on Ja'Marr Chase, and we'll see if he's able to kind of, be good come time, week 1 comes and all that. But let's see what we get here. The Athletic's Paul Denner Jr. writes, Bengals number 5 overall pick Ja'Marr Chase, quote, has not shown as much separation as you'd hope in training camp. Let's see what we get here. Quote, his skill set is that unique. You see flashes of that early, but you also see somebody tentatively getting used to a new offense, new league, and not playing football since January 2020. He has not shown as much separation as you'd hope, and the contested balls haven't gone his way much either. It's obviously very early into camp, especially for a 21-year-old who hasn't played competitive football in over a year, but all early signs point to Chase struggling in his transition to the NFL for a variety of reasons. That's not to say he won't simply get up to speed by the time the Bengals kick off against the Vikings on September 12th. There just might be a little room for either T. Higgins or Tyler Boyd to lead the team in targets than initially perceived. The overall wide receiver 21 in drafts right now. The overall wide receiver 21 in drafts right now? I don't know what that's supposed to mean. Chase, last sentence here. Chase's current ADP at least warrants a second thought before locking him into that range. So once again, we're getting these highly regarded players. Zach Wilson going number 2, Ja'Marr Chase going real early on in this year's draft. They're just not panning out, and we're getting great things from Devontae Smith and Jaylen Waddle, and with the quarterbacks of Trey Lance and Justin Fields. So, it has to be said again, just because you're drafted real early on, real high, it doesn't mean you're going to pan out. Look at Josh Rosen, folks. We're just talking about him today. Not great. So just because you are drafted 1, 2, 3 doesn't mean that you're the best player in this draft, that you're going to make that immediate impact. Ja'Marr Chase struggling early, Zach Wilson struggling early, and Trevor Lawrence really not being great right off the rip. It's a little cause for concern sometimes, folks. So we'll see how much longer Ja'Marr Chase needs to kind of get caught up to the NFL speed, and if he can get that separation working, which makes him absolutely great in the league. So we'll see. Alrighty, let's talk about what's going on in training camp. Here we go. We get Cam Newton here, slinging the ball here in training camp. Let's watch some clips of him right here. About a minute 30 clip right here. Going deep on the first play. Bingo, bango, double coverage, and he puts it right on the money there in the end zone. Jeez. How far is this one? Jeez. This one's going to be hard to count the yards. I can't really see any yard markers here. But let's count 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55. Is that a 55-yard throw? Jeez. Is this 55 yards? Here we go. 5 yards, 10 yards, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50 yards maybe. Yeah, that's real good right there. All right, that's throw number 1. That was right on the money for the touchdown. Double covered. Here we go. Cam Newton again. Letting it sling. Going deep. Boom. Fantastic right there. One-on-one coverage, and he gets it over the corner right here. Here we go. Another one. Great separation there by the wide receiver. Able to get it done, and that's a touchdown, baby. All right, let's see this pass. We're not going to be able to count the yards on this one. This one is a bad angle, but let's see it from the back angle. Let's see how far Cam Newton is letting this ball fly. Here we go. Boom. All righty. Maybe we can buy Cam Newton a little bit more now. We've been hanging on this like 1% faith in Cam Newton for really the entire training camp, really kind of the entire offseason, but maybe we can start buying him if he's going to air it out. That's our biggest red flag on Cam Newton, that he wasn't kind of getting it done. He threw for like 2,800 yards, which is so low. It's laughable. But now these kind of newer weapons a little bit, making him a little bit better out here. Cam Newton is kind of airing it out, and now he's got Mac Jones to push him because Mac Jones could, make the start at any point. Going deep here again. Fantastic. That's tight coverage. Receiver catches it, gets the touchdown, gets that separation. Last one up right here. Receiver getting that great separation. Ball not thrown the most perfect right here. But the receiver makes a great adjustment to the ball. And that's a touch. That's a catch. Not a touchdown just quite yet. But Cam Newton airing it out, maybe being a little bit better. Really need to see him in preseason. Hopefully he plays a couple of drives, 1, 2. If Tom Brady's playing a drive or 2, Cam Newton definitely should be playing a drive or 2 in this preseason game, number 1. So we'll keep an eye on that. We got preseason games coming up Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I want to say the Patriots are Thursday. Let me double check that quickly. They are Thursday, 7:30 against Washington. So that's going to be a pretty good one to watch. See what, Cam Newton can do against that Washington number 1 defense. Hopefully both starting offense and defense are out there for at least a series, 2 series, just so we can see how much Cam Newton is progressing from last season to this season and see if we can buy him a little bit more. So maybe we'll increase our 1% buying into Cam Newton to 5%. I think we're at 5% right now. And we'll see how he does in preseason to see if we can kind of give him a little bit more percent into buying into. Alrighty, we're getting kind of some early notes on what is going to be happening in preseason game number 1, since that's coming up. We get Deshaun Watson is, quote, unlikely to play in Texans preseason opener versus the Packers. And I also believe I read somewhere that he's also kind of unlikely to travel with the team to Green Bay. Let me see if that's in this article. Let me make sure I've got my information right. I'm not just making stuff up. I'm pretty sure I saw that. So here we go. He's unlikely to play in the game for sure, so we'll make a decision later in the week as to what's going to happen with that. It's based off the limited reps he's had in practice and that sort of thing. So he may not even travel. So like I said before, it's day-to-day with him because of that football injury with the ankle. He'd been out for a while, and he was back today, and we're taking it day to day as it's been from the start of training camp. So they don't want to push Deshaun Watson, which is another good sign that he's probably going to play at some point this season for the Texans. You don't want to push him out there. He doesn't need the preseason. Get him ready to work. Make sure he's 100% recovered from that ankle injury before you start putting him out there in preseason games. So don't expect preseason games for Deshaun Watson, at least number 1. Matt LaFleur says Jordan Love is going to play the majority of the Packers preseason openers against the Texans, and why not? I mean, of course, you got to see what you get with Jordan Love and Aaron Rodgers. He doesn't need the preseason. I'm sure Aaron Rodgers doesn't even want to play in the preseason. And once again, the Packers are going to do whatever Aaron Rodgers wants because they want him to be a Packer for the rest of his career. So we'll get to evaluate Jordan Love and just see how good he's progressing. So it doesn't seem like he's progressing well because, the Packers kind of caved in to Aaron Rodgers' demands a little bit. And if Jordan Love was looking good, they probably would have just been like, all right, you're going to walk. Goodbye, Aaron Rodgers. So we'll get a look at Jordan Love. And then here we go. Here's this we hinted to a little bit earlier. Rookies quarterback Sam Ehlinger getting his first reps with the Colts' first team offense. And then it turns out that the Colts closed out today's practice with rookie 6th-round pick Sam Ehlinger working as Indy's starting quarterback. Today was the first day of camp in which Ehlinger took some reps with the Colts starters. So we'll see how this quarterback battle kind of heats up here. We do know that Jacob Eason is going to be the starter. Head coach Frank Reich said the team will continue to split first-team reps between Jacob Eason and Sam Ehlinger and take it day by day, and says that Eason will start Sunday's preseason game against Carolina. So another quarterback duel. I think that's all we're going to be really looking at. That's really the bulk of the information that we can really kind of learn and kind of sink our teeth into is what are the quarterbacks doing at these quarterback battles and kind of the second string quarterbacks. So when these preseason games get played, Thursday, like we said, the Patriots, we can watch Cam Newton. Thursday, also Steelers-Eagles, so we'll see kind of what the Steelers are doing in their second preseason game. Does Big Ben get out there? Does Najee Harris get a little bit more roles? Dwayne Haskins and Mason Rudolph competing for that second spot. They both didn't really look that great in game number 1. We'll see if they got a little bit better. So we've got great quarterback competition right here every single day, and we'll be breaking them down daily, folks. We've got Game Pass. Hopefully they put up the footage, after right after the day after. It wasn't right up the day after the Hall of Fame game, so hopefully they're on their shit come this preseason, this week, so we can talk about it. So Jacob Eason, he's going to be starting, but Sam Ehlinger is kind of right on his heels, it's seeming like. He's starting to get the reps with the ones, so watch out for Sam Ehlinger. All right, here we go. Let's talk about Hunter Henry, the tight end for the Patriots. We just kind of saw that he hurt his shoulder, and he had an MRI. But Belichick says Hunter Henry is day-to-day, but the results of the MRI indicate it is more like weeks, not days. Again, as reported yesterday, the shoulder issue is not expected to impact the start of the regular season for the free agent tight end. But it's not going to be day-to-day, so don't expect Hunter Henry to be getting that much work in. And luckily for the Patriots, like we know, they have a lot of deep tight ends, Jonnu Smith. So they're not going to be hurting without Hunter Henry, but, him getting the reps, getting comfortable with Cam Newton, Mac Jones, whoever's the starter, that's, the more pressing, urgent matter. All right, and then let's talk about Nikhil Harry. We talked about him a little bit earlier in the show, but Nikhil Harry has impressed New England coaching staff over the last week. He has stood out among the wide receiver group, and he is number 15. So let's go back to these Cam Newton throws because I thought this was him. This is a great catch. That's number 13. Which one's number 15? Here we go. Watch this play again by Cam Newton throwing to Nikhil Harry, who, once again, we never really liked. His stats were absolutely trash the last couple of seasons. We watched his kind of highlight tape. It was nothing great. We were sold on Nikhil Harry. His agent demanded kind of a trade, saying he's not getting the burn in the production that he was kind of promised coming in, and they weren't really kind of working on him to get better. But now he's truly getting it done this season, or this training camp. So here we go. Watch this play. Nikhil Harry able to get great separation here, folks. I mean, look at this. This is 2 steps clean separation right there. And then great job going and getting the ball in the air. 2 feet in bounds. That's a touchdown. Cam Newton, great throw. Maybe about 25, 30 yards right there. And Nikhil Harry just able to get behind that corner. You love to see it. So Nikhil Harry, maybe he's finally starting to hit his stride right here. What is Nikhil Harry? Is he third year? Is he going into his third? Let's bring up Nikhil Harry's stats very quickly. I think he's going into year number 3 here. Let's quickly look. Yes, going into year 3. Last year, only 309 yards at 57% catch percentage. Year 1, 105 yards. So like we said, just nothing we can truly sink our teeth into. But it seems like, he's impressing the coaching staff, maybe kind of being a real solid piece for Cam Newton out here. He's 6'4", so I mean, man, oh man, you got to make this man work. I don't care what it takes. You get this man up to snuff to be your kind of deep threat wide receiver. And if he can kind of get that great separation, if he can continue getting great separation against great corners, this man's going to have a spot in the league if Cam Newton can deliver some nice deep balls, which we've been seeing a little bit. So maybe it's all coming together for this Patriots team. Just need to kind of, get it done in training camp as it progresses. Maybe we're making snap judgments really early on with not a lot of practice time, and we still got 4.5, 5 weeks to get even better. So watch out for Nikhil Harry and Cam Newton in these preseason games coming up. Alrighty, here we go. The Saints, they signed a new kicker, folks. We know Will Lutz went down. He's going to probably miss 7 to 11 weeks. It's kind of sounding like never great for a kicker. So let's see. They signed Brett Maher. Brett Maher from the Cowboys. He was an ex-Cowboy. So let's see what Brett Maher's got. Can he be a solid replacement for Will Lutz? Because Will Lutz was looking real solid out there. Let's see what Brett Maher's got here. So he's 2 years into the league with the Cowboys the first 2 years. Didn't play last year, unfortunate. So he's a year removed from the league and kicking. So we'll see how quickly he can kind of get back into his groove. But rookie year 2018, here we go. Let's talk about it. He didn't attempt any field goals from 0 to 19 yards. From 20 to 29 yards, he went 10 for 10. Fantastic. From 30 to 39, he went 6 of 8. From 40 to 49, he went 7 of 11. But then from 50 plus, he went 6 of 7. That's real gosh dang good. Extra points. Rookie year, he made 29. Or no. He went 32 of 33. So only missed 1 extra point. That's exactly what Will Lutz was doing, only missing 1 extra point. His field goal percentage, he ended up making 80.6%, and he hit a career-long 62-yarder. Jeez. Is that what he made, or is that just what he attempted? Longest field goal made is 62 yards. Damn, the man's got a leg. Great from 50 plus. Jeez, all right. And then 2019, here we go. Didn't take any field goals from 0 to 19 yards. He went 9 of 9 from 20 to 29 yards. 30 to 39 yards, he went 6 of 8. 40 to 49, he went 1 of 5. Yikes. And then 50 plus, a little bit of a step back, 4 of 6. Not great. He kicked 66% that season. Not great. He made a long of 63. Gosh, I think isn't that the record, folks? Isn't 63 yards? I think 63 is like tied for the longest, 64. Damn, so that man was 1 yard shy of making the longest, which was set by Matt Prater at 64 yards in 2013. Jeez. So, Brett Maher, he's shown some good signs. Will Lutz, I mean, what is Will Lutz longest? I don't think he's been hitting a 60. Let's get Will Lutz stats back up. A year removed as well for Brett Maher, never a great sign. What is Will Lutz's long? Will Lutz's longest field goal is like 58 yards, folks. So Brett Maher could be a little bit of an upgrade. Obviously, the 66% kick percentage in 2019 is absolutely atrocious for a kicker. 80% in 2018 was solid. I mean, Will Lutz is always above 80%. He's at 82 year 1, 86 year 2, 93, that's fantastic, year 3, 88 year 4, and then 82 year 5. So that 80 and 66 are real low for what a kicker is supposed to do. But the fact that he's hit a 62 to 63, I mean, you got to give the man a chance, right? I mean, he's got a great leg. He's just got to be a little bit more accurate. So that's the kicker that the Saints are going to be rocking with, folks, Brett Maher. All right, and then the last story to go over, we got another top 5 takeaways from training camp from Albert Breer, and this time we're talking about the Rams. So let's see what Albert Breer is saying about the Rams here early on in training camp. Quote, or let's go with takeaway number 1. Here we go. With John Johnson gone, Taylor Rapp is emerging as a versatile piece at safety for Raheem Morris. And the Rams know Rapp can bring the lumber. So, once again, another kind of emerging potential roaming safety, a versatile piece at the safety position. And if he's hitting big, folks, I mean, a potential Jamal Adams, a sack leader out there, even at the safety position. So, we'll see. Watch out for the defense of the Rams, probably the best thing about this Rams team. The offense is going to be real solid as well, but I think the defense overall has a couple of more good pieces. You got Aaron Donald on the line. You got Jalen Ramsey as a corner. You got this man Taylor Rapp emerging as a versatile safety. So watch out for the Rams defense like always. All right, takeaway number 2. Run plugging nose tackle Sebastian Joseph Day has flashed in pass rush situations, could get an increased role as a result. So once again, I mean, this defense just really having all the good pieces. And if you got a nose tackle that can bring the pass rush with Aaron Donald, I mean, you got Aaron Donald coming off the edge. You got the nose tackle Sebastian Joseph Day coming right up the middle. There's nowhere for the quarterback to escape, and that's what wins games, folks. Patrick Mahomes running for his life in the Super Bowl. Give these defensive ends and defensive linemen credit. So a defense shoring up absolutely nice here for this Rams team. Takeaway number 3, the team's replacing Cam Akers with Darrell Henderson, so now they need Henderson's replacement. Xavier Jones and Jake Funk are 2 that have stepped toward in that chase. So what was it? I don't think we were liking it. Xavier Jones. Yeah, he was the one that we were liking out of all the 3. Xavier Jones was our favorite one. We didn't really like Jake Funk, and I believe Xavier Jones was listed as like number 3 in their depth chart. So let's get their depth chart back up here and see, do they make any official kind of adjustments here? What do we got? Xavier Jones is now the number 2. Jake Funk the 3rd, and then Raymond Calais that we liked? It may have been Raymond Calais that we liked. So, maybe Raymond Calais. Was it Xavier? I got to go back in the video that we watched. Damn. I'm going to report back on this tomorrow, folks. I think we liked Xavier Jones and Raymond Calais, and we didn't like Jake Funk, I think. I'm second guessing myself now. Damn it. But that's the update there. The team's replacing Cam Akers with Darrell Henderson, like we know. Cam Akers out for the season, unfortunately, and Xavier Jones and Jake Funk are 2 that have stepped toward in that chase of kind of running back number 2 now. Takeaway number 4, Jalen Ramsey has really impressed as a leader, coaching up young DBs and getting more vocal. Love to hear that. Every time, anytime somebody can kind of make themselves a leader, I'm all about it. And, he's got the talent to back it up. So I would definitely be listening to Jalen Ramsey. And then takeaway number 5, one big question is who will play opposite Leonard Floyd, and former waiver claim Justin Hollins is very much a name to watch in that regard. Alrighty, so Raymond Floyd, what position does he play? Raymond Floyd or Leonard Floyd? Leonard Floyd, I just said the wrong name. So Leonard Floyd is the linebacker. And he says that Justin Hollins is very much a name to play opposite. So another kind of linebacker and help him out a little bit. So once again, just his defense really just being great from top to bottom. And it's going to be tough to score on this Rams team. And that's going to be unfortunate because you're going to have to score against this Rams team because the Rams offense is going to be able to get it done with Matthew Stafford now at the helm. And also having Deshaun Jackson. I mean, folks, was Deshaun Jackson on the Rams last season? I don't think he was. Let's get this up because this is a huge addition too. Yes, he was with the Eagles last year. So this addition of Deshaun Jackson, I mean, we're already getting video and footage out of training camp of Deshaun Watson going deep and Matthew Stafford hitting him in stride. And we know Deshaun Jackson is that great speedster that can get behind the defense. So there's some great wide receivers here for the Rams. I believe in Robert Woods. I believe in Cooper Kupp, Deshaun Jackson. They've got a great squad here offensively. Tyler Higbee, a tight end, a great tight end as well. So watch out for this Rams team, folks. Potential greatness. We have them kind of our early Super Bowl contenders. We had the Colts going against the Rams in the Super Bowl, and the defense being absolutely fantastic. The offense being really, really fantastic. This is, do we dare say, the most complete team in the NFL right now? Them and the Colts, I mean, probably the two most complete teams. The Bucs, you got to give them credit as well. So this Rams team, definite Super Bowl contenders this year, and we'll see if everything plays out accordingly as they should on paper. Alrighty, that's all the stories that we needed to go over for today. Unfortunately, we are not going to be able to squeeze an NFL team refresher today in the show. So that's going to do it for us today. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Let's see if anything has been breaking as we were live. This isn't good. Myles Garrett, a hamstring, and Denzel Ward soreness were held out of practice today. Hopefully nothing happens with Myles Garrett. We get another useless freaking quote here by Dan Campbell saying that there's no turds here in the Lions kind of grit. I mean, it's just like, okay, dude, okay. Sean Payton says cornerback is a must position of need after Patrick Robertson retires. Says, quote, we'll keep working with the rosters. There will be a cut down. So definitely needs another corner out there for the Saints to shore up their defense a little bit. Another reason why we truly just cannot see this Saints team being anything good. All right, what else do we get here? Anything else breaking? Head coach Matt LaFleur said today that Aaron Rodgers will most likely not play this preseason. Yeah, we know that. We know that. Anything else? Anything else? Doesn't seem like it. All right, folks. That's going to do it for us today, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And we will be back live tomorrow, folks. Noon Eastern. Doing it all again. Like we do here every single day. Like we love doing here every single day. All righty, folks. We're out of here. And we'll see you.